Meditation has changed my life in monumental ways twice. Maggie asked me about that, didn't you? Here's what I told her. The first time happened in 1974 when I was invited to take a yoga class in San Francisco. I had moved to California from North Carolina in late summer after my senior year in college, chasing a girl. Actually, it was my friend who was chasing the girl I'd introduced him to while we were living for the summer in Maine. He invited me to go with him to California where she lived, and I readily said yes. I was anxious to leave North Carolina for more exciting pastures. The yoga class was held in an imposing Victorian house in downtown San Francisco at the West Coast ashram of Swami Satchidananda, known as the Guru of Woodstock. When I got there, we paid at the front door and then ascended 3 stories up to the attic where the classes were held. I was in heaven. I was spiritually starved, having spent my youth in a somewhat strict Lutheran church in a small town in the Carolinas. Yoga turned out to be perfect for me, a former college athlete and health nut. The body movements were delicious, and the teacher was sublime in her ability to lead the class of beginners through the sequence of poses. I was challenged and intrigued. The class ended with a 15-minute meditation process that Satchidananda had brought over from India. It was one of the best meditations I have ever experienced, like having sex for the first time. I immediately felt opened and enlivened. All those years of sitting quietly, listening to sermons from the pulpit at my childhood church had paid off. I sat peacefully and observed my breath. I was hooked. The experience set me off on a path of exploration and growth that I am profoundly grateful for. I still do yoga and meditate to this day. My second big change was more traumatic. In early 2012, I took a promotion and moved to San Diego to become the Associate State Director of the San Diego Small Business and Development Center network. I'd worked in the SBDC system, sponsored by the U.S. Small Business Administration, for 19 years in North Carolina. I was particularly good at my profession and had worked my way up through the ranks with great success. San Diego was my next stop to the top of my profession, State Director. Unfortunately, my experience in San Diego was professional hell. The San Diego network was being managed by a poor leader and manager. She had been running the program into the ground for nearly 10 years, abusing employees, manipulating money, confusing her lackadaisical overseers with a smoke and mirrors game of monumentally devious proportions. Program performance was abysmal. I had tried to find out what was going on with the program before I accepted the job, but nobody would tell me the real truth. And my wife, Lynn, and I were anxious to get back to California after being away for 20 years. Both of our boys, their wives, our grandchildren lived on the West Coast. For more than 6 months, I tried to learn my new complex job and use my knowledge and experience to improve the situation. I knew what needed to be done from my previous time in North Carolina, but my ideas were rejected. I ended up in a pitched battle with my supervisor over survival of the program. She began to blame me for all the problems with the program, and she threatened to have me fired as a way of diverting attention from her incompetence. I blew the whistle on the situation, revealing to community college officials who were supposed to be monitoring the program that the program was in big trouble. And thus ensued a 6-month investigation in which she was demoted and eventually fired. Unfortunately, I was fired too for being a troublemaker. My next 12 months were exceedingly difficult. For 9 of them, I tried to find a suitable job in my profession. I came remarkably close to becoming a state director twice. In the final 2 group of candidates several times, but with no success. The same thing happened with associate state director and center director positions in California, for which I interviewed and was eminently qualified. Each time I came up empty-handed after traveling quite a bit and interviewing a lot. I'm sure it didn't help that potential employers would contact my former employer and hear who knows what. Throughout this whole episode, my meditation practice was one of my key anchors to maintaining a sense of well-being. It enabled me to keep my head about me while others were losing theirs. That poem by Rudyard Kipling, If. I was able to return over and over again to a reasonably peaceful state of mind despite one rejection after another. I managed to stay in the moment much of the time, though there are times that I was very upset. I went deeper and deeper into my meditation practice and began to have amazing insights and experiences, including developing a relationship with my soul, my higher consciousness. And I began writing about my experiences, not with the thought of publishing, but just as part of my healing process. One of the ideas that has been taught by the world's master teachers for centuries is the idea of spirit being within us. And that began to really make sense to me. As I began to turn within in a way I had never done before, spirit came flooding out to meet me. I came to realize that my higher consciousness, my soul, had been waiting lifetimes, perhaps many lifetimes, for me to wake up. High C, as I came to refer to my soul with great affection, was a great teacher and very patient. High C helped me develop my own meditation process called the higher consciousness meditation technique. That makes it easier to make soul contact than the traditional meditation process I had originally learned. This saga began to remind me of the hero's journey that Joseph Campbell speaks of so eloquently in his book, Hero of a Thousand Faces. In the book, he argues that many successful stories and movies follow the same storyline of development. Reluctant hero ventures forth, faces challenges, which he overcomes, grows up, and returns to his village with knowledge to share. In my case, I took a very deep dive into my inner self and discovered the gold of my higher consciousness. Now I see the bigger picture of the whys and wherefores of my journey, and I have found that I'm exactly where I was led to be, where I subconsciously wanted to be, and that I created a scenario that allowed me to let go of my previous life. Now, right this moment, I'm doing exactly what I should be doing, working on my 6th book. My tormentors, as it turned out, were my liberators. They forced me to step into a world of the unknown that only had an inkling existed, a life that is enlivening and fun, creative, and ever expanding. I'm beyond forgiveness at this point and over into a state of thank you, thank you, thank you for my new life. If this sounds good to you, let me suggest a few things that you can do for yourself. First, learn to meditate. Oh, did I mention? Learn to meditate. Second, third, hit the subscribe button down below so I can send you more videos like this. And fourth, get a free copy of my first book, The Amazing Benefits of Meditation. Free. Click on the link below and I'll send you one. I'm Blair Abee, author, poet, and ordinary mystic. I've written 5 best-selling books on meditation, manifestation, and related topics, available at Amazon Books. It's my sincerest wish that you find peace and happiness in your life, perhaps using meditation. And I offer you a heartfelt namaste. The higher consciousness in me salutes the higher consciousness in you.